Hello, today's lesson in Accelerated Algebra 2 is lesson 4.8, Quadratic Inequalities. Okay, so the first goal of this lesson is graphing each inequality. Basically what we're doing is we're graphing quadratic equations, but in an inequality form. So all we have to really do is worry about the shaded region after we graph the graph itself, the parabola itself. So let's go ahead and start just with these two examples, 1A and 1B out of the book. Again, follow along in your book and pay attention to those types of problems in there. Okay, so 1A is y is less than or equal to x squared plus 2x plus 4. Okay, and what I'm going to do on this one is I'm going to use vertex form to graph this one. This one's a real nice one for that. So I'm going to again pretend this is equals, but we can just keep it as less than or equals. I'm going to break apart the x squared plus 2x and move the plus 4 out. I'm going to make this fill in the blank here, or make it a perfect square, x plus 1. So I need to add 1 here to make it equal, but then I have to subtract 1 on the outside, making it a plus 3. So my equation is y is less than or equal to x plus 1 quantity squared plus 3, where my vertex is -1, 3. Okay, so to graph this one, I'm going to graph the vertex first, so -1, 3. I'm going to plug in and make a table here, or I am going to use just transformations. The fact that a is still 1, I need to go over 1, up 1, and over 2, up 1 on this side. I could go over 2, up 4 then, and over 2, up 4. It is an equals besides less than, so it's going to be a solid line to make my parabola. Now, after that, I am going to use the fact that all y values are less than this parabola. Well, where y is less than is down here, which signifies the outside of the parabola. So the shaded region is any point on the outside of this parabola or below it. Now, 0, 0 is a point on the outside. It's in the shaded region. If I put 0 back into the original problem, 0, 0, should it be true? Okay, so I'm going to just take that for example, 0, 0. That should be true if I put it back in. Is 0 less than or equal to 0 squared plus 2, 0 plus 4? And yes, it is, because 0 is less than or equal to 4. That is true, so 0, 0 should be in the shaded region, and it is. Okay, so that's graphing an inequality versus an equation. Let's do 1b. Now, 1b is a little trickier to use vertex form because we have an a that's other than 1, and we have a b that's odd. So it just becomes a little more tricky. So I'm going to use the x equals -b over 2a to find my x coordinate. -3 over 2 times -2 is +3/4. So when I make my table, I'm going to put 3/4 in the center of my table and then plug this back in. I can use my calculator, and it actually comes to 6.125. Now I'm going to put some integers in for x using the table feature on the calculator, or using just math. We can plug in 1, we should get 6. If I put in 0, I will not get 6, because remember now, 1 and 0 are not the same distance away from 3/4. I actually get 5, and if you think about that, if you put 0 in, you get 5. If I put 2 in, Let's see, a 2 in, I get 3. If I put 3 in, I get negative 4. If I put negative 1 in, I get 0, and negative 2 in, I get negative 9. Now, when I graph this one, I'm going to graph, of course, the points. Here I'm at 1, 2, negative 1, negative 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so at 3/4, I'm at 6.125. At 1, I'm at 6. At 0, I'm at 5. 2, I'm at 3. Negative 1 is 0. And if you notice, that does make a parabola. It's going down. Okay, so I made the parabola. Now, here comes to the shaded region. When I look at the inequality sign, it is not equals. What happens now that I've already drawn it's a solid line and I want to make it a dotted line? Well, there's a couple things you could do. Marker board's easy because I can just go ahead and make it a dotted line real easy. On your paper, if you want to, you can just go dotted. And that way, I know that's what you wanted it to be. Sometimes it's hard to tell. So that's where, now we look at where the less than, and this time less than here was below. This less than is below as well, but because below is inside, because the parabola opens down. Okay, there's your 2 examples for graphing quadratic inequalities. Just make sure you test your point. Again, 0, 0 on this one should work. And if you can always test 0, 0 if it's not supposed to work and see if it doesn't work. But that should get you the first part of this assignment. We'll move on to the next part in the next video.